make sourdough for my husband.
Right? Like 70 to 80% of divorces are filed by women.
Dedicated her time into homeschooling my brothers and I. I'm so grateful for that.
Tradwife all the way, all day, every day. Deal with it. Okay, here's Michael Knowles on part 2 of my critique or my reaction to his interview with these 3 nice young ladies that have a slightly differing opinion on the tradwife scenario and the sensation that is tradwife, which is just basically old-fashioned wife. So let's get into this, right?
That's kind of getting to the point here, I think, because if the critique from the women is these men aren't acting like men and they're not being chivalrous and they're not, treating me like the sweet angel that I am. And then the critique from the men is, well, these girls are not behaving like dignified, modest women. They're on OnlyFans and they're, promiscuous or whatever. You can see how both sides got to that place, but then don't we need to raise the expectations and say, no, ladies, be modest. Men, don't be Casanovas.
So that's exactly right. Women should be modest. They should dress modestly. I'm not saying you can't dress up and go out. It's a free world. Do whatever you want. But if you want to have a successful relationship, you should want to be modest for your husband's sake. And likewise with the man, you should both be considerate toward one another. That's supposed to be your best friend, your life partner, as they say. So also to tap on the man part. Wow, that didn't sound good at all. Oh man. So Michael addressed the men too by saying men should not be Casanovas. I had to look that up. Apparently it's an old movie from 1963 and it's about Casanova, of course. So I kind of thought that's what he was talking about. Anyway.
Yeah, you got to raise it on both ends, though, which is very difficult because you also have to get women and men to both admit that they were slightly wrong, which no one wants to do because right now all we do is pin each other against each other. Oh, no, all the women, they're all on OnlyFans and they're all hoeing it out constantly. Oh, all the men, they're just, feminine TikTokers. Like, you got to get to a middle ground. Like, yeah, is it great for every woman out here to be on OnlyFans? No, it's a little crazy because, look, it is kind of sex work. It's kind of prostitution.
Oh, it absolutely
I would say
is.
more than kind of. Yeah,
it is 100% prostitution.
Yeah, but also when you have all these men that just go through women because they have unlimited options, and this is what most girls are, and they're like, yeah, I want a good girl. But then they say they want a good girl, then they meet the good girl, and they cheat on them anyway. So it's just like it's a very difficult thing that's going to take a long time to try to figure out, honestly.
I don't even know what to say about that. It's you don't lean into the lifestyle if you want to have a better relationship. So that's pretty much where I'll leave that. You want to, as I said before, women should be modest. They shouldn't allow themselves to be the product of the Casanova man. I know there's a false sense of bravado with a man that's confident and all that stuff, and you can see all these dummies that are on YouTube that give advice about how you can basically, I see it as tricking women into one night stands and that kind of thing, because they're projecting like they're men, but they're really not worthy men. They're garbage men. Anyway, garbage men. That's funny. All right.
Oh, yeah. So then what do we aim at? I guess because there's something that's been delightful to me that's cropped up because I'm a little more, not totally libertarian. I'm a little more traditionalist. I go to the traditional Latin mass. So when this phrase trad life popped up, I thought, let's go, baby. I'm like the hipster of the trad life. I've been doing it since before it was cool. But this creates caricatures. This creates, some people, they take it a little too far. I sometimes tell women that if they want to date at the traditional Latin mass, the odds are good, but the goods are odd. They're a little weird out there. So, Emily, you went viral for critiquing the trad life.
I'm sorry, I hate to call out my own party, but the young girls on the right promoting this tradwife bullshit I just want to make sourdough for my husband. That's great. I'm all for it. I promote traditional values. I understand. I have been working since I was very young. I don't really plan on stopping working. I suggest you find a hobby that makes you money. But you guys, guess what? Guess what, baby girl? That lifestyle working out, a man, a provider, you just get to sit at home, bake bread every day, slim to none. I would say none that's going to work out for you, or quite literally anyone you know. You're actually setting yourself up for failure, because it could not be easier, if that's what you're going to pursue, to be trapped by a man. Okay? Also, let's bring some other things to the table besides sourdough. Guys want to be mentally stimulated as well as physical, okay? But I'm just like, please, you guys are too young to be promoting this. And also, by the way, it's cringe. You guys are cringe, okay?
At what point is using cringe just cringe? I don't know. I'm sounding like an old guy now, but yeah, I understand what she's saying. I get her point, but what I don't understand is that if somebody wants to have that life as the man going and being the breadwinner, and the wife choosing to want to stay home and tend to the house, if that means paying the bills, if that means taking care of the kids, the animals, whatever it is, being the thermostat of the home. What's the problem with that? I don't know. I don't understand why Emily has such an issue with that.
Okay, so Emily says trad life is BS. Savannah, what say you?
So I actually don't like the buzzword tradwife, because again, I think it's a buzzword in culture, and there's a lot of things tied to it. I would say stay-at-home wife would probably be the proper term for it. But I would have to disagree. I think that there's a very narrow perspective that when you are a wife who doesn't make her own income and the man is providing, that you are trapped by a man. I mean, I will post things about my husband providing for me, and they're like, wait, so he leaves you in 20 years and goes and finds a younger girl and leaves you with absolutely nothing. And the truth of the matter is that doesn't really happen, right? Like 70 to 80% of divorces are filed by women who were unhappy or just bored. It really doesn't happen where the man just leaves you with absolutely nothing. I think too, like my marriage personally, Christ is at the center of our marriage. And if you don't have that foundation, then of course it's going to fall apart. Of course there's going to be infidelity. Of course you're going to be looking elsewhere, because you don't have that foundation. And couples that pray together stay together. Like we pray every single night, and Christ is at the center, and we're going to church together. And we did that from the beginning of our relationship all the way up until now. But I think that bringing back the idea of the husband being the head of the household and the woman being his help, like it was in the Bible, like it literally says in the Bible, would help a lot of marriages.
Wow, that was very well said. Yeah, I agree with everything she said there. If we had the foundation of the one who created marriage in the first place, and we applied his rules to our relationships, wouldn't our relationships be that much better? Here's what I'll say. I will say the overarching theme of this is we shouldn't look at just the stat of divorce and how divorce has gone up without looking at what the possible cause was. The two things, the sexual revolution and feminism. Feminism is making women equal to men. Even the crappy part about men, when they act like garbage and they go out and act like the Casanova, like Michael Knowles was saying, to combat that, to be equal to men. And that is what we should look at when we consider why has the divorce rate gone up. The scoundrel men, the garbage men that are out there, garbage men, that they're the ones that have brought down the bar for the standards of men. And then what women have done, they think they're elevating by being like men, they've lowered their bar as well. So that's my opinion.
Emily, does that do anything for you?
No, I stand on everything I said. You know what the funniest part about my video was? I mean, that's literally just common sense. You can't even argue with any of it. There's statistical data on my side for every single thing I said, especially if you're getting married super young, the odds of that working out. The difference is I pray it does work out for everyone, but also I'm just looking at things from a perspective. But it's funny because I was like, I must have triggered something in all these housewives, because I was like, how happy are you guys that you flood my comment sections wishing horrible things to happen on me. And I'm like, so you're not really proving my point that I think any of you are happy. And yes, not even just the fact of divorce. Divorce is what, probably 50% in this country, potentially more.
It's a little less, but yeah, it's high.
Yeah, it's high. People lose their jobs. People die. People get sick. There's a lot of factors to that. It's also like, I don't understand these women who claim to be so happy that are, you know, telling me to kill myself online because I have an opinion, which is what I do for a living. I'm like, I promote women can have it all. I work full time. I also cook. I also clean. I do everything. It's not something to be put down, which is the problem with these tradwives are hating on women that work. And it's like, we're not forcing you to work. I like working. It makes me happy. So I'm like, do you? But this pressing this life on everyone, it's not for everyone. And it's also not going to work out for everyone. And that's just life. So
yeah, it's not for everyone. I agree with some of the things that she's saying. Life evolves, life changes. I get that, but she's still taking the stance like she's so set apart from the trad wife when she kind of is one. She just said it herself, that she stays at home, she cooks and she cleans and she does all that, and that's a great thing. And I'm sure her relationship is a very strong relationship, but I just don't get why you have to, get on somebody for pushing the trad wife scenario. If you do what God says and you have a reverence for His word and for when He says to care for your partner and be sacrificial to them, that's going to work and has worked and will always work.
Savannah, why are you trying to force your views on Emily, huh?
I don't force my views on anyone. Listen, all of my girlfriends have jobs or they're in university and we get along and they respect my lifestyle and I respect their lifestyle. Do I think women with children who are married are happier? Yes, there are statistics that show that. But we live in a world where I'm not going to tell women what to do. They can go to work. They can do whatever they want. They can be on OnlyFans. But do I think that they're happier when they have a man providing for them and they have children? Yes, because it's just our primal nature.
But then you said I was bitter. How am I bitter? Because I work, I cook, I clean, and my man fully takes care of me, and I have my own money to take care of myself. So it's
because there would be no reason to go online and bash women who do have that lifestyle unless you were bitter about it. It doesn't make sense to.
My job
regardless.
is to give opinions for a living. It's an opinion. If you were truly happy, you wouldn't be so triggered. But you took it extremely personal. I'm like, sweetie, I'm not talking to you. It's an opinion. I give them for a living. I have a job.
But then why don't you like it that other people give you opinions in your comments?
No, it's funny because it's like you're clearly triggered. As if you're that happy, you wouldn't be bothered. And she thinks I'm like talking about her. I'm like, no, I'm talking about all the young girls online that are literally promoting this and then ironically doing it as a job to grift and make money as well, which is so funny because it all comes for full circle.
There is some of that. I do agree. I think that from my perspective, yeah, encouraging girls who are single and who aren't married, and even if they want that trad lifestyle, go ahead and do something with yourself. In the meantime, set yourself up so that, hey, if that trad life that you want doesn't come to be, because right now we do live in especially a very godless society, and a lot of traditional values come from the Bible. So if you're just going to sit and live with mom and dad all your life until Prince Charming comes and saves you and gives you that trad life, that may not happen. So go ahead, get a job, have a plan for yourself if it comes down to it. But to say that the trad life is cringe or anything like that, I completely disagree.
So I don't really agree with Emily's take that, well, either one. I guess they both kind of said it to each other. Like, well, you're just, how happy can you be if you have to critique the other? I don't know what that has to do with anything. Emily kind of going after the traditional values, the trad wife, in the sense that she didn't say need to be quiet, but basically is saying like, yeah, it's what you guys are hypocrites for saying, for promoting it. I think it's not a reflection of their disappointment in their own relationships. I think there's an underlying commitment and desire to affect society. is because when you're talking about raising your kids, we look at that. If we're looking from a traditional point of view, we want to obey God's rules and implement that into our family life. Raise our kids right, raise them in the Word, teach them in the ways of the Lord, and they'll never turn away from it. It's about protecting society. Like, you can just look at the way society is. Emily says it in her own statements that men are they're not, a lot of them are not great guys. The whole reason the tradwife thing is even in discussion, it's a clapback to this whole scenario of going out and being easy, living the easy lifestyle, right? Going out and partying all the time. Hookup culture it doesn't last for long, and there's a lot of regret. So why wouldn't you want to be in a relationship with one person? Like, I could go on for days on this. So let's just carry on with the video.
I think you're evading the question, because the point you've just made is, look, I can hire a nanny, I can hire a chef, I can take the money. Yeah, I know. That's one kind of life. But when you say you can have it all, that it violates Aristotle's law of non-contradiction. Because in the two choices two ways of life that I'm presenting at least, are you're at home, you don't have a job. You have a lot of jobs, but you don't have a career. Your life is in the private sphere. The other version is your life is in the public sphere, but you get to do a lot of fun, like wife, mom stuff too. But I'm saying those are separate things. Savannah or Melanie, do you have thoughts on if one is better than the other, or are we all just going to be like modern people and not make a decision?
I think if you're actually looking at children and upbringing, and obviously my mom was a tradwife, she still is. She raised my brothers and I. She stayed at home and homeschooled us while my dad provided for the family. And there's no way that she could have had a full-time job and homeschool us and take care of the home and do all the cooking and all of that stuff. So for that, I'm very grateful, because especially when you get on the subject of public schools in general, their indoctrination systems. And also it's hard for kids to really be kids when they're at such a young age having their 9 to 5 already in the school system. So the fact that my mom dedicated her time into homeschooling my brothers and I'm so grateful for that. And so, not to say that every kid that's in public school doesn't have a good mom and all that, but I think in an ideal scenario for children, a mom would stay home and raise them.
That's so well said. You can just see the appreciation she has. It was of great value to her to have her mom at home. And I think that's great. Emily is kind of evading the question. You can do both. Yes, you can do both. But Melanie makes some really good points. You could see the value and the appreciation in her speech and in the way she carries herself and just the way she is thinking about it as she's speaking about it. That's a beautiful thing.
My mom worked from home. She was a settlement consultant, so she only worked when she had a case come to her. But she sacrificed a lot of work when she had us as kids, and she was able to basically be a stay-at-home mom who took maybe like 2 conference calls a month. So she could have made a lot more money than she did, but she sacrificed that to raise us as kids. So I don't think that you can have it all, because having it all would be her making as much money as she can with work, being very successful in her career, and also having successful children. But you
can't bilocate. Like you can't be in 2 places simultaneously.
Yeah, no. And I mean, she took us to school every day. She picked us up. She was at all of our games. She was at all of our events. And I would not trade that for the world. And that was a good example to me, because when I have kids, I want to be at everything. Like I want to watch them grow up. I don't want somebody else raising my children or even my parents raising my children, because they have to watch them. So I think I had a great example of that growing up. But even my mom would tell you, like, no, I had to sacrifice a lot of money and a lot of my career to raise children, but she'll tell you it was 100% worth it.
Real interesting comment there, and I agree with her. Also, you can hear the appreciation in her voice, but she made a key distinction. Yes, you could have this and you could have money that, and the mom said, yes, I did sacrifice more money. I did sacrifice my own career. That's the key. Yeah, you could do for yourself. You could earn a bunch of money. You could do all the great things in the world. But if you don't have anything to share it with, or nobody to give it to, or no one to sacrifice to give them a better life, yeah, you could have all that stuff. But would you give that stuff up so that you can bless your child with your presence? The only thing a child wants, there's nothing that the child wants more in their life is the attention of their mother and their father. You could hire somebody to cook the meals. You could hire somebody to take your kids to school. You could leave them in daycare during the day or after school. You could do all those things. I myself was a latchkey kid, and it's so funny to say that now, so many years removed from when I was a preteen and a teenager. I had a key, and my mom and dad both worked, and I came home to an empty house. There's no question. I think that in my view of this conversation so far, I'm about 2/3 into it, and we'll call it for the day, and we'll do another one in a couple of days. But from what I can see, what's glaringly obvious is the mom and the dad in the household. Dad goes to work, mom raises the kids. That is the best case scenario. So I do think there's room for variations in the upbringing of kids. A traditional household, mother and father, dad working, mom maybe remotely working or not, but being available for the kids, cooking the meals. That's the best case scenario. I just don't see any other argument for that. And that's not to say you need to have kids. Go have kids. You don't have to have kids. But if you choose to, this is the best way to do it. Tradwife all the way, all day, every day. And that's the way I feel about it. Deal with it. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll do part 3 in a little bit. Peace.